Well, I was going to talk about that. So
Okay.
so I did gather round. I've done gather round twice through the AFL. I did it this year and last year. Adelaide is perfectly set up for that's an AFL state. The city is like this, but they do multiple grounds.
Yes.
So they did. You have Adelaide Oval where they only had 2 games back to back, I think, on the Saturday there. But then they have other games out at Norwood Oval and then out in the Barossa Valley, which is really cool. But I like that here every game is at the one
What's
stadium.
the consensus on that? How do we feel about that? Just even going around the room as to best case scenario. So Adelaide, the signature venue is the Adelaide Oval, and they go out to like the Barossa Valley, Norwood and places like that. Whereas obviously Brisbane, it's at the Mecca that is Suncorp. What do we reckon? One venue best or spread?
I think for one venue makes the most sense, and I think it works. And Suncorp is a really good stadium. There's probably not. We discovered this yesterday. There's not enough bars inside the stadium.
No,
I
that's
think
true.
Only one or two, but where you can just like sit in there, like in between the games. But Suncorp to watch footy was
Brilliant,
unbelievable.
yeah.
It was the first time I've been, and I really enjoyed it.
It really is the best rugby league stadium in the world, I think. Using the English experience, because Magic Round actually started in England, and they moved it a couple of times away from Newcastle. And this brings me to my next point, which is in terms of whether it moves or it doesn't. I'm a fan of saying if something works,
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
keep it. If it's not broke, don't try and fix it.
Well, if you were to move, what do you think? Should it stay in Brisbane?
Well, I was recently listening to another podcast to say the NRL is actually every year putting it up for tender, and the Queensland government just keep buying it, and the price will keep going up and up, and Queensland will just keep buying it. I think currently they're paying, say, between 4 to 6 mil, but the economic increase is like 35 mil. So it's a no-brainer to keep that happening.
And most of that is just beer on Caxton Street because, my God.
Yeah, accommodation, Ubers, all those kind of things. But yes, the price gouging there. But anyway, I just can't see it working as well in any other place. Like some people say, well, do it in Allianz. And, even if you want to split it between Allianz and the SCG, bad idea. But like that Moore Park setup, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
And it's just not the same in the way that you get to the ground and all the things around it. I don't think we have another setup as good in Australia as Brisbane, Caxton Street, Hale Street, Paddington, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't think it works anywhere else.
This might be the Victorian in me saying it, but is the elephant in the room Sydney's weather potentially as well?
Well, it rained all day yesterday, so
that is true. But it feels like it's. I know Brisbane, when it rains, but it feels like Sydney. It would be more likely to be a bit of a wipeout weekend.
What I'd like to say about Sydney is that each week it seems we have a game on Friday at the big stadium at Homebush and then a game on Saturday at the big stadium at Homebush. I'd love to see mini Magic events. And we wouldn't call them Magic as such, but you can have the Bulldogs having a home game, Souths having a home game, and West Tigers having a game at the stadium on the same day, I'm sure.
Well, they were looking at doing something similar. They're having this, I think it's called Gadu round. It's like for Dig round later on in the year, they're playing 3 games at Allianz, but they're playing them over 3 days. So I don't really understand that. Why didn't they put them back to back to back and make the mini Magic round? Put the Indige flavour in there too. It would have gone off.
Well, the AFL did it where Gather Round was supposed to rotate, but it was so successful in Adelaide that they said, well, it's yours.
They've locked it in for the first 3 or 5 years.
Correct. So then the AFL gave opening round, if you will, to the northern states, New South Wales and Queensland, to play standalone fixtures in those cities. So, it's almost like they created an alternative so they didn't move it, so that those cities got something resembling that. Yeah,
and opening round has been wildly unsuccessful as well.
Well, the cyclone up here didn't help either. So.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, I think it's not having been to another Magic round, but even here this year, with the rain and everything, I think it makes the most sense in Brisbane. We did have one guy, so we went out yesterday, spoke to a lot of fans. We did have one guy pitch Canberra as
too cold
alternative. Yeah, and it didn't make sense. We did also speak to a couple of people that said you could have it in Melbourne, you could have it at Amy, but then it probably wouldn't work in Melbourne.
Yeah, Melbourne as a city could do it, but whether the vibe, people would go there.
The concept, I think the concept is more than just, you got the location, you got the stadium, you got the venues and stuff, but you also got you're bringing it home, right? You're bringing it back to a place where people are just breathing rugby league. to put it into an area and say, oh, let's try and make it work there, and just leaving a coal out in the cold, it'll go back to being dead. So you don't want to do that.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine the outrage as well. Just given that, like, even just with Origin, moving an Origin game to Perth and Melbourne is a little bit dicey for the Rugby League fans. But all in all, fantastic experience. I really like it, and I'd love to come back. That might have been directed at my boss to fund me every year from now on.
He needs a month to prepare in Brisbane as well.
That's right.
Well, I want to stay longer because we're flying out today. So, and then the public holiday tomorrow. Like, it would be. You really want to, and I know there's a lot of fans that have made an absolute event of this. Like yesterday when we were talking to people, I think we ran into maybe 4 or 5 different Bucks dues, which was just unreal.
A lot of Kiwis flown over too.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into this a little bit later, but the Warriors fans are absolutely overrepresented. In terms
that game
of
might as well have
membership.
been in Auckland. It was amazing.
It was unbelievable.